הרבנית, כבוד הרבנים, אחיי ורעיי, my colleagues, my brothers, all the rabbis, the leaders of Chabad movement in South Africa, Rabbi Messenger who brought us yesterday to the 14th Yortzeit of the Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Levroche, Zechuto Tagen Aleinu, Al Kol Yisrael, Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Morai V'Rabotai, 14 years ago, it was also a Sunday, 5 minutes before 10 a.m., I am in the car, in the entrance to Yerushalayim, to the office of the Chief Rabbinate. The telephone in the car is ringing. Kol Yisrael, the radio of Israel is on the line. We want you, your comment, your words. In 5 minutes, there is the audition of the news broadcasting from Jerusalem. About what? What do you need my comments to speak about? He said, didn't you hear the news? The Rebbe of Lubavitch passed away. It was already 2 or 3 minutes to 10 o'clock. 10 are the news. 10:05, I have to speak. Even we knew he was very sick, but it was a shock. I didn't find a word what to do, what to say. And then you hear the pips of the news, and they started the news with telling about the Rebbe. And then they applied to me, Chief Rabbi Rab, what can you say, what can you tell us about the Rebbe? We know you knew him personally many years. I don't remember exactly what I said. I spoke about 10 minutes, but I remember one sentence, maybe the first one. I want to tell you, all the audience in the state of Israel listening to the news on the radio, even the Rebbe of Lubavitch didn't have children of his own. At this moment that he left us here, he left behind thousands, above thousands of orphanages. Yes, many orphanages all over the globe are since now orphanages because of the passing away of the Rebbe. 3 hours later, we took a plane, an El Al Jumbo, on a special flight to New York to the funeral. We came a little bit late, it's a difference of time. But we came for 3 hours to New York. We arrived 8 p.m. We left 11 p.m. From Kennedy Airport is very close to the Montefiore Cemetery in Queens, New York. It was raining. Heaven were crying. Everybody was crying. It was dark already. We entered to the cemetery. On the microphone, someone said, give space for Chief Rabbi Lau to arrive to the place. We came, a line of people, took off the shoes. We entered into the oil. You saw the 2 monuments. There was only one that time. And a heap of envelopes, postcards, papers, all kinds of letters, Zetolach, on the grave already. It was silent, very gloomy, very sad, dark. And around the cave, around the grave, in that silence, all of a sudden, one of the Jews who came with me in the same plane, I don't know his name, from Chabad, an old Yid, lifted up his hands to heaven. And in that quietness which was there, he screamed out only one word. Tate! Tate, which means father. A Yid of about 80 years old. He felt as an orphan only from that particular day. He lost his biological parents, who knows how many years before. But he was screaming out, Tate! The one who became that moment an orphan. So someone told me, we have heard what you said on the radio this morning. You see? That's exactly what he is feeling. We have met first time personally, not by letters and not telephones, from Rav Chadakov, his first secretary. The telephones came in 1970 already to lead the campaign of Who is a Jew. If the Knesset, if the Jewish people would obey the guidance of the Lubavitch Rebbe about the issue of who is a Jew, about the conversion problem, we would prevent, we would save many, many tragedies, problems, and a split in the Jewish society, especially in Israel, around and about this issue of who is a Jew, if we would listen to his advice. We didn't. But I gave real support for the first gathering about Shleimut Ha'am, the wholeness of the Jewish people, and Shleimut Ha'aretz, the wholeness of the land of Israel. The first gathering took place in Lag BaOmer 38 years ago in Rehovot. There were two speakers. Member of Parliament that time, Menachem Begin, you could see his picture with the Rabbi here. Only later he became the Prime Minister. And me as a district rabbi in North Tel Aviv, before being even Chief Rabbi of Netanya. We were the two speakers. Shleimut Ha'aretz, he spoke. Shleimut Ha'am was my subject. I wouldn't believe that from 770 Eastern Parkway in Chol HaMoed Pesach, Tovshin Lamed, a telephone will come to my home from Rav Chadakov in Nomen von Reb. On behalf of the Rebbe, we ask you to take a part in an gathering which will take place in Rehovot a month from now in Lag BaOmer to speak about Miu Yehudi. Later on in Haifa, later on in the Man Auditorium in Tel Aviv. So I had a contact with the Rebbe since then. But only 4 years later, Tovshin Lamed Dalet, 1974, 34 years ago, we have met for the first time. It was just after the Yom Kippur War. I went to speak for the soldiers in Egypt, crossing the Suez Canal on the beginning of February 74, 4 months after breaking out of the war broke out on Yom Kippur, Tovshin Lamed Dalet, which was October the 6th, 73. February 74, I fly to Fa'id, we called it Eretz Goshen, in Egypt, on the ground of Egypt, to speak to our soldiers. And on the same place, the Tanya was printed in Fa'id. I have it in my home. A small book of Tanya, printed in Fa'id, Eretz Goshen, Yisrael, Egypt. The same day, I went to the United States of America, first time in my life. I came for a lecture tour in New York and New Jersey, 4 weeks, to make the communities there more and more involved with the problems of the state of Israel and the Jewish people after the crushing blow of the Yom Kippur War. The people who sent me asked me, what is your fee, Rav? What is your honorarium? I said, I never visited America. I'm not sure that they will invite me for a second visit in my life. Maybe this is the first and the last one. My desire is to meet with some Jewish leaders. I want to meet with them, to talk to them, give us a list and we will arrange it. On top of the list was the Rebbe of Lubavitch. I came in 1:30 a.m. They told me that I will be the last visitor because the Rebbe wants to talk to me longer than usual. 1:30. I left 10 minutes to 4 o'clock. He kept me 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yechidut. Only the two of us. The phone ringed several times. I thought it's a symbol for me, it's a sign for me to go out. No. The door was opened by Label Kroner, the secretary, 3:45. I understood that this is a time for me to leave. I stood up with the soft and warm hand. The Rebbe put his hand on mine. Please sit. And he said in Hebrew 3 words, Olai ve'al savori. I take responsibility, don't care. Don't be worried. I want you here. I went out 10 minutes to 4. All the students of the yeshiva, the boys, I remember some of the names, Shabtai Slavatitsky, Kutirab, and many others, surrounded me. What did you say? 2 hours and 20 minutes. What did you talk about? I was a little bit younger, 34 years ago. So no, what did you speak? When I stand with them in the yard on the way to the street, Eastern Parkway, the Rabbi himself came out with a book here, marching, and he came straight to me, asking me, was wird sein mit Meise Merkovo? What will be with Meise Merkovo? Meise Merkovo, everyone knows from the Gemara in Sukkot of Ches. This is the first chapter of Ezekiel the prophet, to describe the appearance of the Lord Almighty. This belongs to the Kabbalah. We didn't discuss Meise Merkovo. We didn't mention the name. We didn't mention Ezekiel the prophet. I didn't understand. I said, was meint das? What does it mean? He said, Merkovo is also a car. Rechev. How do you arrive back to your hotel? You told me you are in Manhattan. I said, yeah, I will get here a yellow cab, a taxi. No. In this neighborhood, in this time, 4 o'clock in the morning, it's too dangerous. Pikuach nefesh. My friend Yudel Krinsky will bring me to my home here in President Street, very close. Wait here with the boys. He will return and will take you in my car to your hotel in Manhattan. This taking care, concerning about the young rabbi, first time that we have met, taking care about my security, about my health, donating his friend, a great person, Yudel Krinsky, and his car. Of course, all the boys there, they said, no, we will take him. And we entered in a car, they pulled me, they pushed me in a car. There were 10 people in the car instead of 5. They wanted to hear what did I speak, and they took me to my home. 8 years later, Tovshin Mem Beis, 1982, as chief rabbi of Netanya, I came for the second time in my life to America. I went to the Rabbi. I stood at the door. He looked at me. Is the smile you saw here? 8 Jahre seid ihr nicht gewesen bei mir. 8 years you didn't visit me. He remembered exactly what we spoke, when was it, that 8 years passed. And he have met several people within those 8 years. But speaking about the personality, that he was not only a genius, one in generations, a godel mamish. I speak about his emotional involvement to every Jew. I want to tell you a part of the first yechidut, of the first meeting. In my autobiographic book, I tell this story, this episode. He said to me, I know that you are aware in Israel to all the problems there. There is a question which bothers me. Maybe you can give me an answer. Jewish people, by nature, by character, are revolutionaries. All the revolutions, even in Russia, in November 1917, Jews were in front line of the revolutionaries. All the revolutions in the world, Jewish, against the stream, against all the winds. The Jew is going with his truth. This is a character. We are stiff-necked. The best example is Exodus, over 3,300 years ago. Who spoke that time about freedom, equal rights, homeland, out of slavery? The Jews did. Let my people go. The Almighty said Moshe to King Pharaoh of Egypt, let my people go, Shalach Esami. And we went out from Egypt. And all Africa, that time, and many, many years later, thousands of years, were under control of other countries, mainly in Europe. The European ruled over the Africans. The only one who gave the sign of liberty, the first one were us, the Jews. Onoichi Hashem Elokecha, asher hotzeisecha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avodim, from slavery to freedom. So what is my question? The Rebbe, I quote the Rebbe. Look around all the world. Since World War II ended on 1945, we are now 74, almost 30 years later, 30 years. How changes are there in the world? Not even one country in the world is the same. Look at the leaders, 30 years, from 45 to 74. No more Stalin. Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin. Khrushchev condemned Stalin. Can you compare Ronald Reagan to FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt? And in between, Eisenhower and Kennedy are the same guys? Not only the difference between Republicans and Democrats, personalities, so different. Attlee is replacing Churchill. Pompidou is the same like de Gaulle. Schmidt is the same like Adenauer. Look around the world. In all the countries, changing. The only country the same government is ruling so many years is Israel. It was in 74, 3 years before the change of Menachem Begin. Ben-Gurion, Eshkol, Sharet, Golda Meir. That time was Golda Meir Prime Minister. All the same party, the Labour, Rabbi. After this blow of Yom Kippur, which was on Yom Kippur, Tishrei Tovshin Lamed Aleph, change. Not only that I didn't know the answer, I even didn't think about the question. I never asked the same question. But he looks at me with his beautiful eyes, waiting for an answer. The question was a long one. My answer was, Rabbi, I don't have an answer, a real one. But if you expect from my people in Israel a revolution, I will tell you an episode from the last war, an episode from 4 months ago. Maybe that the conclusion of this story, which I'm going to tell you, you will find a seed of a real answer. A seed of my thought. Why don't we make the revolutions you speak about? The war broke out on Yom Kippur was Shabbat, 1:50 p.m. We were at the end of Musaf, Yom Kippur. But we felt that something happens. Since the morning, jeeps and command cars stopped in front of the shuls, which never happened in Yom Kippur. I speak about Tel Aviv. I was a district rabbi in Tel Aviv now, that time. North Tel Aviv. We never saw a car except an ambulance. Two boys in army uniform enter to the shul every hour with a list. Are you Yaakov Greenberg? Follow me. Follow me, you are mobilized. And the shul till Musaf became empty from young men. Ladies' gallery was full in Yisrael. Old people and children were in shul. from 18 to 50, almost everybody. So we understood, it's very serious. Then came the Sayuri. We said, Eile Eskero, Asora Haruge Malchus. In the middle of Asora Haruge Malchus, the Sayurim means go to the shelters. The order was in the back in the cities to keep dark, to prevent bombing of the air forces of our enemies. Two enemies at once started the war, Egypt and Syria together. Everything was covered, dark. Cars almost didn't move. Those who moved were covered the lights. A day later, on Sunday, 9 o'clock p.m., I receive a phone call in my home. We speak from a weddings hall in Tel Aviv, Schenking corner Achad Ha'am, a place called Tchelet at that time, it doesn't exist anymore. A chuppah was fixed to be tonight, half a year ago. 300 people were invited. The tables are prepared for 300 people. Only 15 came. The hall is empty. But the young couple doesn't give up. They will not postpone the chuppah. 15 of 300 people. But they are here. The groom himself is in battle uniform. He have got leave of 12 hours from the army, from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. He has to be back at 6 o'clock in the morning at the Suez Canal, the Sinai Desert. And he insisted on to have his chuppah today. It's not likely to postpone it. But the rabbi didn't come to officiate the wedding. We know you, please do us a favor. The bride is crying. Please, Rav, now come, officiate the wedding. I said, look, first of all, my car is not available. I didn't color the lights. I will walk. It's 45 minutes walk. No problem. If they have the papers, if they are registered in the rabbinate, if everything is ketas, Moshe Yisrael. Yes, they had the ksuba, they have everything. The rabbi was sure that in such occasion a chuppah will not happen. I came. The bride was crying. I made the chuppah. I said what I had to say. I wanted to go back home. A lady steward who works in this hall, I knew her face from previous events. I didn't know her name. Came upon me and said, Rav Lau, I must share with you my secret. Nobody whom I can trust, whom I can tell my story, who will understand me, only you. I know you, I know your background, I know about your childhood in Holocaust. I want you to listen to me, please. I said, of course. What's the problem? What's the story? And this, as I tell you now, I told the same word by word to the Lubavitch Rebbe. In Yiddish instead of English, word by word. And the Rebbe, with his eyes looking at me, listening very, very carefully. The lady said to me the first sentence, Rav Lau, if he will not come back, I commit suicide. What? How do you speak? I can't listen to these words. Take them back. Take them back. No, 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 no. If he will not return, I have no reason to wake up in the morning. I commit suicide. No reason for life. Who is who? Who is he? What do you mean? She pulled out the sleeve and showed me the number of Auschwitz tattooed on her arm. They slaughtered my parents when I was 15 in our shtetl in Poland. I saw in my very eyes slaughtering my father and mother. I was young. I was sent by train to Auschwitz to work, to tail uniform for the German. Was very capable, young and fresh. 3 years. I survived all those years. Thin as I was, skin and bones only, but I survived as a tailor. January 26th, 45, the Red Army of the Soviets came in and Auschwitz was liberated by the Soviets. I went to my shtetl. Nobody was there of my family or my neighbors or my friends. I didn't find there one Jew in the shtetl. Someone said to me, we know that the refugees, survivors of Holocaust, are concentrated in the city of Lodz. Go to Lodz. They gave me some zloty, the Polish money, by train and another train. I came to Lodz. Many survivors were there. I looked in the streets. I went to one place to the other. None of my family, but I found a boy from my shtetl in the same situation. He lost all his family. He was a little bit older than me. I was 18. He was 21. We have decided together to apply for a certificate. We want to go to Eretz Yisrael. But the gates were closed. The British mandate ruled over so-called Palestine from 45 till 48, the establishment of the state. And we didn't get a certificate. We went from one camp of refugees to the other. 1947, we married. Kedat Moshe Yisrael. Like you did it here now in Tel Aviv, I did it in Germany, Fernwald. The Jewish state was born. The gates for Aliyah became open. When we were on the list. The Jewish agency took us by trains to a port in Italy. I was pregnant already. We came to Haifa, exactly to the Independence War, 48. They took my husband to the battlefield and he didn't come back. I was alone, only myself. My boy was born. He carries 3 names. The name of my father, the name of my father-in-law, and the name of his father, my late husband. I work daily as a clerk in the post office here in Tel Aviv. In nights as a steward in the weddings hall. I work so hard to enable my boy financial means which I didn't have, to study, to go to university, to be a mensch, to buy for him a flat so he can build his life when he will find a suitable girl. If you would visit my flat, 2 rooms only, one wall is a museum. In the center of that wall is one black and white picture of my late parents. Someone here from our shtetl found me and gave me a picture of my parents, his friends from Poland. Only one picture. Around that picture there are some pictures, black and white also, of my father, of my husband, including our chuppah in Germany, in Fernwald. From the boat, the last picture on the boat. And all the wall, colored pictures of my boy. He is my life. He was born on 49, now he's 74. He's 25 years old, single yet. We were in shul yesterday, as every Jew in Yom Kippur. I took him from shul. I tell you, Rav, if he will not come back, I have no reason to wake up in the morning. For whom shall I live? For whom shall I go to work? I'm alone. I tell this story, and I feel on my hand 3 wet. I look at the Rabbi, pearls came down from his eyes on the table. Pearls, big tears. I don't remember such tears from his blue, beautiful eyes, deep eyes, was crying. I cried with him. Even I knew the story already. I told him, Rabbi, we are a little bit tired, our generation. How many packages of duties can you put on the shoulders, narrow shoulders, of one generation? How many? World War II, Independence War, Sinai Battle, 6-Day War, then Yom Kippur War. What revolution, the revolution. We want a little bit quietness, some rest, some peace. The Rebbe is still crying. Ich verstehe, I understand. Ich verstehe sehr gut, I understand very well. Yeah, I do understand. That's the answer. 34 years and 4 months since then, 3 months, I think about a personality who has the concern of the whole Jewish nation in his mind and his heart, leading a movement of shluchim all over the world, being involved in all the problems of the Jewish people all over the world, in places that anybody except Chabad cannot cross the curtain. And in spite of all this large concern, he has a warm corner in his heart for a story of an anonymous lady steward from Tel Aviv. crying with the story of this lady whom he doesn't know, whom he never met before. He was crying like a father. What that Yid from Far Chabad screamed out, Tate! He was the Tate. He was like the father of that lady. And then, 2 hours later, taking care about how I will arrive from Brooklyn to Manhattan in Cheif. I have mentioned the Kir. Last Sunday, I was in Warsaw for 3-4 hours. I went to Tel Aviv and went back on the same day to ordain new rabbis, 9 young rabbis who have learned in the yeshiva of Chabad in Warsaw. Before the war, there was a very famous yeshiva, Tomchei Tmimim in Warsaw. Great scholars came out of that yeshiva Tomchei Tmimim. Very many. And now after 70 years, the first time in the history of Polish Jewry, 9 new rabbis were ordained on that ground of Poland after 70 years. Because of Lubavitch, the Stambler family. And I came with Rabbi Yaroslavsky, Rabbi Meir Herz, Polish boy, Rosh Yeshiva of Chabad in London, came as well, and we ordained them. And I spoke about the Rabbi. How came Eastern of Europe, place of communism, of atheism, of declaring a war against the Lord of Almighty, a yeshiva. And students learn Shulchan Aruch, Orach Chaim, Hilchos Shabbos, and Yoreh Deah, Hilchos Ta'arufos, and Melichim Basar Becholov, like nothing happened. And they bridged the gap of 70 years. So this is in the spirit of the Lubavitch Rebbe. Only because of one man. I told them here in Warsaw, the Jewish greatest leader before the war in Poland was Yitzhak Greenberg, who made Aliyah before the state was established. He was one of the leaders of the Jewish Agency. In the first cabinet of the Jewish state, the right hand of David Ben-Gurion, and he, Yitzhak Greenberg, was the first interior minister of Israel. But unfortunately, far from religion. He was on the left wing, almost as a communist. He didn't believe. He didn't preserve commandments, none, except Eretz Yisrael. Still, in the end of his life, he was a member of a kibbutz of HaShomer HaTzair, Gan Shmuel, near Hadera. He came to Tel Aviv in 1965 for a symposium, a debate about Jews, youth, and tradition. And I was in the beginning of my rabbinic way. You can imagine, 65, which is 43 years ago. 43 years ago. And he was very old, very honorable, but unfortunately far. He spoke before me, and he said the following. I quote exactly. I told it on Sunday in Warsaw. There is an iron curtain, disconnection with Israel. The Soviets have no diplomatic relationship with the Israelis. We cannot go there to visit. They cannot come here, no immigration, no aliyah, not even tourism. Nowhere. An iron curtain. Behind that iron curtain, there are 3.5 million Jews. At least. Grimbo, a leader of Jewish agency, member of the cabinet, he knows exactly. At least 3.5 million. By the way, the Rebbe of Lubavitch told me, once I asked him, Rebbe, how many Yidden are there in Soviet Union? It was before 89 and 90, before the Glassman and the Perestroika. He said, 10 to 11 million. But lemechzo lishlish v'lereviyah. Half Jewish, third part of Jewishness, a quarter Jewish. Jewish blood. The Zayde was Jewish, sometimes the Bube. But all around, 10 to 11 million. Greenbaum, back to Greenbaum, 3.5 million Jews, our brothers and sisters, behind the Iron Curtain. From 1917 till now, 65, 50 years of assimilation, of communism, of atheism against all the religions, almost 50 years. I want to tell you how far I am from religion, but I am not far from truth. And I will share with you the truth. Speaking about the Soviet Jewry, if a miracle will happen, Rimbaud about miracles, and the Iron Curtain will collapse or lifting up, enable this candle of Judaism to be extinguished. He is sacrificing life. What did he tell us, the Rebbe? Look at the books. Yeah. Hayom Yom. Only Hayom Yom. Look at the Likutei Sichot, at the Shurim, at the letters, millions of letters. Listen to his voice. I came to a home once in New York, the East River, York Avenue, to visit